Welcome back to the Bryan Laskin Podcast. I'm Bryan Laskin, and this is a conversation about care. And specifically, we're going to be talking about a trade that none of us in dentistry agreed to. Frankly, I think most of us in dentistry are looking to take care of our patients, but we have chosen convenience over consent. And what by that, I mean, we've really focused on making healthcare easier to process and higher quality, yet harder for patients to understand. Now, a quick note. Now, might notice the new name again. It's the Bryan Laskin Podcast. This is our second episode, transitioning from the Patient First podcast, which isn't going away as an idea. We're always going to be putting patients first, becoming the backbone of everything we're doing, putting patients first. The new name, again, reflects a single durable home or what we're going to be doing and a more seasonal focus. And this season's focus is caring more, making more. Care more, make more. And by that, I mean the more we show we care for our patients, the more we make. It's a direct line, right, to all the questions that we're asking and exploring this season on this podcast. How can we care more? How can we create connection, clarity, and confidence to make more through more recall revenue and referrals? It's the same mission to take back care from negative forces that are going on, right? We just have a clearer container at the Bryan Laskin Podcast. So we've all been sold a big myth. This is the topic of my latest book, Unfair Care. I'll grab it here if you don't have a copy. Over 100 reviews on Amazon, and I don't know, it's probably around 50 on Goodreads, 4.9 rating. If you haven't gotten it, go get it. Unfaircare.com or go to Amazon. But what I talk about in the book is the big myth that all of us have been sold, that healthcare is complicated. It's just not that complicated, folks. We've been told that it's messy by nature, that it's frustration, that the frustration that we feel is just the cost of doing business. Now, providing healthcare is complicated. Sometimes doing a root canal can be complicated, but the actual category of healthcare, we got to reject the idea that it's complicated, right? Something else has happened. Healthcare has become rigged. It's not broken. If you read the book, I outline the problems and the solutions, frankly, to those problems. But the problem we have is that healthcare is massively profitable and it's complicated to deliver. And so what's happened is that negative forces have made it. The business of healthcare has been overly complicated by design. So how did this happen? When we're talking about dentistry, which is obviously for those of us who are probably listening today, we usually have either we're in dentistry or we're associated with dentistry. What happened? We lost our way. As an industry, I believe we've forgotten the business that we're in. And I alluded to it before. Competing priorities have taken over what we do every day. We've been putting profits over people. And frankly, if we put people over profits, we actually get more profits. That's what care more, make more is all about. We've been looking at metrics and KPIs instead of quality experiences. And frankly, it's easier to create a quality experience and it's more fun. It's more fun. And as we have a better experience, our KPIs will improve. So instead of looking for profits over people, if we put the people first, the profits will come. If we put quality experiences first, the metrics will improve, right? And frankly, what I'm seeing over and over when I talk to dental professionals, including teams in my own office, I see self-centeredness over team and patient-oriented. The irony is that all of these, again, if we focus on the latter one, the other will improve. If we focus on our team, on our patients, guess what? We get more in return also. We've had constant operational fires and not focusing on systems. What are the systems that put patients first? What are the systems that make people feel more cared for? What are the systems that create quality experiences? And what are the systems that our people need to get rid of the boring, mundane processes that they have to do every day that we could probably outsource to some $50 a month tool instead of having some very qualified, intelligent, rational, empathetic person have to do like stuff in envelopes or whatever, right? And all of this, all us being lost our way and not focused on actually making people cared for, has not been done selfishly. I want to point this out. For clinicians who are working in dental practices, I think it has been done in the pursuit of excellence, of quality care. That's the topic of my first book. If you haven't read that one, you should. Patient First Manifesto. How do we get here? How did we get here? The Patient First Manifesto details out how our pursuit of clinical excellence, while it is paramount that we pursue clinical excellence, it leads us down a pathway that disconnects us from our patients. I call it the great disconnect in the book. So let's level set. A single core truth. If you are in dentistry, by definition, I believe, even if you're the CFO at a large DSO, we are in the business of being caregivers. What does that mean? It means we give care to others, or we support those that do, which means we have to give care to those that give care. Okay, we are all caregivers. Our job is to make people feel cared for. It's different than caring for people, which is also our job. So, because caring for people sometimes makes it so that you don't make them feel cared for. And by the way, caring for people is providing high quality. Caring for people, or making people feel cared for, is providing a great experience. Both are important. Both are important. So again, the distinction is that caring for people is clinical mastery. It's the procedures we do. It's the technical precision. It's the shade match. It's the margins. But people just can't feel the technical excellence that you're providing. So the real question to look in the mirror, and frankly, if you're a clinician today and you're not focused on providing high quality care, I got nothing for you. But if you are, and if you've been in dentist for 10 years or 5 years or 15 years, or you feel like I'm a really good clinician, which most dentists, I believe, are. Dentists coming out of dental school are like super dentists from when I got out of dental school, frankly. And, I see so many dentists providing high quality care. But the real question that we have to ask ourselves today, that I think the pandemic that would addresses the pandemic, and the reason why, if you're not where you want to be in dentistry, that's the framing. Right? If you're not making as much as you want to, if you want to make more, if your organization, your DSO is sucking wind, which a lot are right now, holy man, surprising to me how many offices are in financial turmoil. Here's the question to ask yourself. How do people feel cared for in our practices? How do we make them feel? Right? So that's what this season's focus is going to be, because if people feel more care, you make more. So we're going to explore how to make people feel more cared for. We're going to show you that when people feel cared for, they engage more. They have tighter recall. They pay their bill. They refer their friends and family, their advocates. And care is not a soft skill. It's an economic model that drives revenue, improves recall, and creates patient advocates and referrals. So we're going to focus on leverage and scale. So if you are not growth oriented, this ain't for you. If you aren't looking to grow your practice, if you're just really happy and say, oh, you know what, I can't even get people in for the next 2 weeks, and that's what I want. No, if you can't get people in for 2 weeks, grow. That's my perspective, right? If you are going down and you want to cut costs and you're just going to shut down practices, this ain't for you. We're going up and to the right. Regardless of what everybody else in the industry is looking at, we're going to focus on leveraging and how to actually build practices that thrive. That's what this is about, right? And we're going to unpack also, care just didn't disappear overnight. It's not like we woke up one day and everybody's talking about EBITDA and KPIs and looking at spreadsheets. I heard a quote that I love recently, and I've used it a lot because I'm seeing this a lot. It's harder to lie in Word than Excel. In other words, it's easier to lie in Excel than Word. Spreadsheets are BS. They are lagging indicators of things, or else they're garbage forward indicators that somebody's making up. Somebody that looks at a lot of projections of startups, I can tell you that, right? Spreadsheets are not how we manage a practice. We manage it by looking at the experience that we have. The very first time I met the CFO at the practice, at the group that I sold my practices to, at one point he said, Bryan, we were talking about doing something. He said, where's your ROI spreadsheet? I said, you got the wrong guy, buddy. I don't do that. He said, well, I can't do anything without a spreadsheet. And I said to him at the time, oh, I didn't realize that your good ideas go to die. And I had no idea how right I was. Now I look back at that 6 years later and I'm like, holy man, was I right? I mean, when you focus on the spreadsheet and cutting costs, oftentimes you're cutting away the patient experience. But we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how do you actually grow and how we traded away caring slowly, decision by decision, not by bad people, but by people who just had the wrong focus, by systems that are not making people feel cared for. I mean, look, you look at a shiny new object. Ooh, look at that 3D printer that can do X, Y, and Z. Ask yourself this question. How does it make people feel? It might do something good, but does it make people feel crappy? Maybe. Does it make them feel good? Well, now we're on to something. What are the trade-offs that we've had? Incentives have replaced intention, right? We have incentivized the wrong things. Oh boy, this payment plan, what we're incentivizing, but it doesn't make sense for patients or practices. I see that stuff happening all the time. Compliance has replaced judgment. Frankly, there's not much people looking at compliance at all. We don't even know that the P in HIPAA stands for portability. We have somebody come to us and talk about privacy and security, and we forget that the whole intent is that patients' information should be with them and portable. So when they come to us as a new patient, we have all the information about them. Documentation has replaced conversation. I believe strongly we're going to talk about how we make connection with our patients. And the impact is that patients, they've stopped feeling seen. They feel like numbers. And they treat us like that. Clinicians wonder, why does a patient leave for $10? Or because I don't take their insurance anymore. It's because they don't feel seen. And clinicians have stopped been feeling trusted that way, right? And trust has eroded on both sides because there's been this disconnection. So this season, we're not going to be outraged or we're not going to look back at a better day. There's going to be honest explanations of the normalized trade-offs that we've made, naming the consequences that we've learned to accept and reframe it so that we can do better. Because when care is clear, people are engaged. When care is trusted, outcomes improve. And when care is consistent, our offices, our businesses get stronger. The problem is that isn't that we forgot how to care. The problem is that we've stopped designing systems that protect our caring. You know, if I look at a DSO that has 10 locations, there's one superstar, one laggard, and this stuff in between. And we rely on people, not systems, to make people feel cared for. I'm going to say that again. In group practices, we've been relying on people, not systems, to make people cared for. And that, my friends, is a recipe for failure. So this season, what we're going to do is every episode is going to ask, how did care get pulled away from people? And what would it do, or how do we take care back? How do we take back care? That's what this is about. Care has been lost. How do we take back care? As the people that are caregivers, how do we take back care? Right? There's not going to be product pitches. There's not going to be any easy answers, but you will find clear thinking about systems that affect everyone and how they feel. So this podcast, this season is for patients that understand what they're feeling, knowing that it's not their fault. Providers, clinicians, dentists, physicians, we're going to be naming pressures that we've been carrying silently. And anyone that believes that healthcare can be better, right? More human, not louder, not trendier, not AI this, the AI that, that's basically just a bunch of, AI is a fundamental technology. How does it make people feel? Depends on what you're doing with it. Putting AI at the end of your name, now people throw money at this company. Are you kidding me? it's just a tool, right? Tools don't do anything. It's what are you doing, right? So you're in the right place. So if you want to take back care, if you want to make people feel more care, so you can make more, you are in the right place. Until next time, take care.